Hey everyone, I'm Lisa Dahl. I'm a non-diet health coach, and I work with women just like you to learn how to listen, trust, and respect your body through the practice of intuitive eating. Today I'd like to talk with you about something that I refer to as learning to speak body. When we're growing up, we are all taught to clue in or pay attention to other people's body language and interpret what they're trying to say so that we know how to respond or react. We don't take the time to clue into the messages that our own internal body is trying to communicate with us. And I refer to that as body speak. Our bodies communicate with us all the time. The challenge is that we don't often take the time to listen, or there's a language barrier. We don't understand the messages that our body is trying to tell us. And when I work with my clients, I talk to them as referring to an example when you're in elementary school and you're learning French or Spanish. It's a foreign language. We have all of these vocabulary words that now we're trying to understand. And at first we're clueless. And then with practice, we all of a sudden have meaning to the words, and the words turn into sentences, and the sentences into paragraphs. And eventually we have some level of fluency, some better than others. In just like learning to speak body, we all have a different level of fluency and communication with the messages that our body is trying to communicate with us. And one of the key components of intuitive eating is learning to listen to our body. Our bodies don't talk in words, they do speak in other ways. When we take the time to listen, the messages are really loud and clear. Some examples of how our body speaks to us is often in pain, or that emotional feeling of anxiety or stress, inflammation, chronic illness. What's your energy level like? What is your fatigue? Do you notice a change in your breathing, in your heart rate? Do you sometimes feel constriction in your throat or your chest? Those are all messages that our bodies are communicating to us. The question is, what is that message? What is that language that we're trying to understand to decipher what it is that we're trying to understand or learn from those messages? And if we don't pay attention to those signals and address the root cause, the body will start to speak even louder. And we get confused and label all of these messages as emotional eating. It's kind of like that bucket term. We don't know what else to call it. We just label it emotional or emotional eating. And one of the ways to start to understand the language that our bodies are trying to communicate to us is to ask ourselves a couple of key questions. And the first one is, what am I feeling and what do I need? And it's great to ask these questions, what am I feeling, what do I need? We need to then take the next step and to learn to listen. And when we learn to listen to what the answers are, the conversation will start to change and will give you a different outcome. Eating is the word that the body uses to express its distress about something unaddressed. And it makes sense. So when we eat for reasons other than our biological or our primal hunger, food is that synonym for stress, anxiety, boredom, procrastination, exhaustion. And the reason is because food is calming. Our body will naturally release dopamine, which is our feel-good hormone. And when we have that sensation of that feel-good hormone and that ease that comes into our body, we don't have to think about those unpleasant or stressful thoughts, have those difficult conversations. Our feeling of pain begins to dissipate. The rest of the world temporarily falls away, and it's temporary. It's common for people who struggle with their relationship to food to also experiencing other challenging behaviors or symptoms, such as over-exercising, the escape to need to sleep more, perhaps drink too much, smoke, struggle with depression or symptoms of anxiety, working too much, be in challenging relationships. All of these are examples of the ways that our body is trying to speak to us. We just need to be able to grow our vocabulary so that we can understand what our bodies are trying to say. When we don't take the time to understand the messages from our bodies, we often use what I refer to as the Band-Aid method. And food is often the Band-Aid. If I eat, it will make me feel better. Unfortunately, it's the quick fix. So think about if you have scraped your knee, and the first thing you do is you go and put a Band-Aid on it. You haven't cleaned it, washed it, there's debris, there's grit, there's skin, there's germs, there's pebbles, whatever it is that you fell on is still stuck into that abrasion, and you put a Band-Aid on it. A few days later, you notice that it's extremely uncomfortable and there's an infection. Surprise or no surprise? It is an analogy to how we use food as a Band-Aid to cover up or numb whatever is the challenge that we are experiencing, the anxiety, the stress, the procrastination, whatever the it is, food covers that emotional Band-Aid. We need to discover what is that root cause, going back to what am I feeling, what do I need? Are you experiencing some sort of grief or loss or life change? This past year, all of us, nobody is exempt to what we have all experienced through COVID in this past 15 months. Food has definitely been a resource. So you are not alone when you are going through grief, loss, a life change, divorce, a new baby, new job, you've moved. There's so many different things that fall into those categories. Challenges with relationships. We've all been in very close quarters with either our partners, our spouses, our children, or perhaps our parents. That all creates stress and anxiety. What are your interpersonal skills? Do you have tools in your toolbox to help you become more resilient? Or is food always the Band-Aid? So it's something to think about. What do you think about when your body is speaking to you? How do you feel in your body? How can you become more aware and start to increase your vocabulary other than the bucket of emotional eating? Digging a little bit deeper, trying to identify what that angst is. Once you know, you can choose to take a step back and respond versus react. And this isn't a quick fix. This takes time and this takes practice. So if these are messages or thoughts that relate to you, I would love to have a conversation and to help you explore how you can learn to increase the vocabulary with your body and create a new body language. And so with that, thank you for watching, and I'd love to wish you a future of body peace and food freedom. Have a great afternoon.